We were actually talking with Matt Costa after round one, who also is on blue-white-red control. It's the only win conditions that Drew Levin has here are the Augurs, Snapcasters, Restos, and Thundermaws.
Yeah.
So there is no Etherling in this list for him to close out the game with.
Right. There are more controlling versions of blue-white-red. Drew is closer to that end of the spectrum, but it's still got a lot of creatures comparatively to the Aetherling version. So we see a Restoration Angel here is going to jump in the way of an attacking Avacyn's Pilgrim to match the other Restoration Angel on the other side of the table, Joe Smith with a Restoration Angel of his own. Joe Smith is on Junk, very popular deck since basically Return to Ravnica. There have been variants of Junk. Loxodon Smiter is going to come down for Joe. Looks like Drew is up a game here, and seems like we're fairly early in this game. Pillar of Flame on the Smiter, and then a Snapcaster Pillar of Flame on the Smiter.
Joe's not playing Junk Reanimator here. He's just playing straight Junk. He only has a 2-color mana base going on right now. He didn't have his black. As you saw, he's boarded in Appetite for Brains. He's down a game, but he would have seen that Restoration Angel if he had the black mana. As it is, that Appetite for Brains will probably not hit anything. The Angels are among. There's only 7 targets for the Appetite in Drew's deck. An Angel is among them.
So you see a couple copies of Moorland Haunt there. I believe Drew is playing. Well, it got cut off in our copy, but can't quite see how many he's playing. Looks like at least 2.
Right. So I mean, and I think when your deck is so short on actual, Etherlings or true ways to close out the game, these value lands are starting to see play again.
So Drew decides not to attack, passes back. Joe is going to try to cast a Voice of Resurgence, and that gets dissipated by Drew. And now we have end of turn flashback Think Twice from Drew.
Right, Drew's just building incremental advantage here. As you saw, he did draw one of his true finishers in Thundermaw Hellkite.
Yeah, there's only a 1 of in the main.
Yep, 2 more on the board, and I almost want to suspect that he's brought some of them in because Joe has cards like Obsidat, which we actually see in his hand, and Sigarda, which are pretty hard for him to deal with. Drew's going to need some sort of clock.
And I believe we're going to see that right now. Drew spreading out his lands there. There it is, Thundermaw Hellkite on the stack. That is going to tap.
And now Drew's entered racing mode. He's actually not really caring too much about controlling the game at this point. He's just racing on damage. What I find interesting about Drew's deck right now is that he's a control deck, yet he's playing 0 Etherlings. He's playing 0 Supreme Verdicts, and this is in the main deck. No Etherlings, no Supreme Verdicts, no Terminus. So he doesn't have any sweepers or finishers in his deck.
Yeah, so it's a kind of a strange amalgamation, I'd say, of like a control deck and a mid-range deck. At this point, he's going all mid-range. So.
Right, and finally, Joe hits his 5th land, which allows him to make Sigarda Host of Herons.
Sigarda, a card that we're going to show you on screen in just a moment. One of the cycle of angels from Avacyn Restored.
Yeah, I would say Sigarda certainly saw the most play. It's as a card that's designed to be anti-control. With between its hexproof and the fact that you can't sacrifice it, really it requires a sweeper to get rid of, which Drew isn't playing.
Sigarda hexproof, so that means it's Azorius Charm proof.
Yeah.
Which we see in Drew's hand.
Yeah, what I like about Drew's play here is that his deck transitions really well from being aggro into control. So now he's in a Revelation for 5. All Drew needs to win this game is to find a Restoration Angel. He'll resto the Thundermaw Hellkite, tap all the blockers, and swing.
And swing in,
so recognizing this, he's going to. That's one of his few ways to get through Sigarda. Other than that, he really just would have to feed creatures to it.
So you see there's Sigarda finally.
Yeah.
Oh, or you can just
draw another Thundermaw Hellkite.
That'll work too. But yeah, there you see Sigarda hexproof, but it still would get hit by the Thundermaw's damage and just tapped. So it looks like Drew has won that match 2 games to 0 with blue-white-red.